Hello and welcome to the Local Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Johnson. The Local Leaders Podcast provides a platform for successful business owners to share their stories, their experiences, their advice, and their ideas in order to help our listeners achieve more success in their business and in their lives. Get ready, another great show is coming up. Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Jeff Johnson, your host of the Local Leaders Podcast, and I'm excited today to be able to bring you a couple of guests that we have on with us today. We've got Michael Waring and Gulczynski on from Valejo, California. Welcome, guys, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us. Excited to be here.
We're super excited to have you and to get an opportunity to kind of hear your story and learn as much as we can from your experiences and everything that you guys have gone to. So I'll just open the door to start with and ask you to share your story and tell us a little bit about the business, and then we'll go from there. Is that okay?
Sounds great. We've been open now about 9 years. The May 29th is our official first day of opening anniversary. So a little over that hump. It's exciting. We've been, it was our first business. I was 25 when we opened. So there's a bit of a learning curve over the years. But the great thing about it was that we were able to learn and grow all on our own terms, which was kind of a reassuring thing. But yeah, we're located here in the Bay Area in California. About 35, 40 minutes traffic barring from San Francisco, and about the same to Sacramento. So kind of right in the middle. We're about 10 minutes or so outside of the Napa Valley. So.
What a great spot, and what a beautiful restaurant you guys have. It's I'm looking at the main picture on the website. Stainless steel, and it's beautiful. So you've had is it the one location that you guys run from or operate out of?
Yeah, the one spot we've been there all these years. It's always just been the two of us, and we're a small little place. We have about 18 chairs, and we just do our thing Thursday to Sunday. It's all at one seating. And we really just try to put all of ourselves into what we do. We kept it simple like that and small like that, so it'd be easy to problem solve things as they came up. And then it just kind of worked out. You get used to it, and you realize that it's kind of nice just working with each other every day, and you build systems and parameters around those things, and it works out great. So we're really happy with it.
Well, it's beautiful, and the food looks amazing. I love your website, by the way. You guys done a great job, and it's for those that are listening. I will be flashing that up on the screen, but it's Michael Waring, WARRING.com. For anybody that wants to jump on there before they see it appear on the screen. And Allie, tell me a little bit about your role and kind of what you do at the restaurant.
So I always joke around with Michael and everyone that Michael does all of the food and I do all of the above. But on day to day, of course, I take care of the guests during service hours, but behind the scenes, just kind of make sure that everything keeps moving from the financial aspect to the cleaning aspect as well too. So there really isn't anything that I don't do outside of the food. That's kind of Michael's territory, and I let him control that. So
that's why I wanted to get her name up on the window all these years, but she won't let me do it. It's I just have one little section, but it's pretty much her show.
Yeah, well, I had a feeling that might be the case. That's why I opened that door. And just get her to share it in her way. So there's always a great woman involved in anything successful. Is what I usually Yeah, that's what I've learned over the years anyway. Well, that's really nice. And actually it's a great point of conversation. Normally I don't jump straight to that. I'm gonna come back in a minute to challenges, but I'm just curious, or I'm always curious about how owners or partners, kind of split up their duties to kind of, I guess, stay out of each other's way in one way, but to also support one another. And it sounds like you guys have a clear delineation of what you work on, and I'm sure that helps. Was it always that way, or did you find yourselves running into each other in the beginning?
No, we ran into there was not.
The first,
Yeah.
I would say, year was
Yeah.
difficult. Just learning to work with each other. That just
Finding the roles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, and not overstepping on each other and things like that. But now it's just second nature in that sense of we don't necessarily even have to talk to each other. We just kind of know what to do in certain situations.
Yes, ma'am. That's and that comes with time and practice, and it certainly helps keep things smooth and operational. So again, congratulations on 9 years of a successful operation. So I'm curious where the concept came from, and how you guys kind of came up with it and got the ball rolling.
Yeah, honestly, there was no concept. I had these grand ideas of going into the city or going somewhere and opening up a spot like I had worked in all my life. And you realize you're 25 years old, you don't have any money, no one's going to give you any money, so those things aren't going to happen. So you start to whittle it down and figure out what can you do, not what can't you do. And what I could do was find a small space that was affordable and go around on the internet or eBay or Craigslist or whatever and find small pieces of equipment that I could go pick up by myself and get them in there somehow and get the doors open. So I was nothing but limited in the beginning, but all the choices were my own, which was real great. So the concept evolved out of necessity, not necessarily out of me having a very specific plan. I did have a specific plan that just all went out the window when we, yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. In fact, I had someone on last week who's got it's either 4 or 5 locations today, but when they started as a juice shop, and they quickly figured out they couldn't sell enough juice to pay the bills, and so they wanted to add food. And their first piece of cooking equipment was a George Foreman grill.
Yeah, you do listen.
Yeah.
You got to.
Yeah, and I mean they burn up several of them before they got to the point to where they could afford a real grill, I guess. But yeah, you do what you have to do to get the ball rolling, and that's one of the parts that's interesting to me for all restaurant owners, and really any business owner in general is finding the funds to get started. And it sounds like you just bootstrapped it and bought what you could and let the concept develop from there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, we had a small little line of credit, and that was it. I mean, when that thing got tapped, I mean, that needed to be opening expenses, the first however long we could stretch for operational expenses, plus building it out, so it was, it was all hands on deck and everything I could finagle from friends and family who could help me in one way or another. But we got it done. It was the foundation that allowed us to evolve over all the years we've been open, but that foundation needed to be laid in order to start the work.
So what did you guys find early on that were some of your bigger challenges that you faced, other than, of course, finding money to get it started?
I think looking back would be, I can't speak for both of us, but definitely for myself, would be the confidence in myself. I didn't have it versus what I have now. I look back and see that I lacked the confidence in myself, obviously because it's new and scary. So the choices that needed to be made, I think I was more hesitant about it versus now I look at something and I can say 100% this is the direction that we should go. I think that was probably the biggest learning early on for me.
Yeah. Mine was finding my voice, you know. I spent a lot of time cooking in other people's kitchens and making other people's food. So it's only natural that when you go into your own, you're going to fall back on that, right? But
Right.
you're in your own kitchen making your own food now, and that it's a race. It's a how quickly can I put myself into my work? What does that even look like? There's no, it's not like I can just follow a game plan to get there. It takes time and practice, and the more you do it, the more confident you get, the more you put yourself into your work, the quicker it's going to come. So yeah, I think maybe confidence in a way for me, but more trying to find that path forward, with my food. So
Yeah, what figure out what it is that you wanted to do, and for Allie, um, experience, right? The experience gives you that confidence as you face different obstacles and different challenges, and you start to overcome them. Then you start to build that confidence, and the only way to get it is to jump in, right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. 100%.
Yeah. And how scary that can be when you jump in, especially when you've got everything everything you have you put into your business. And at you, would you say you were 25, Michael, when you started?
yeah, I was 25 years old. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, you
that
don't
was,
know any 25, you're a kid still. I mean, I'm still, still learning every day, but you're really green when you're that old, and you just say, hey, listen, I'm done working for other people. I'm doing my thing one way or another, and that's it.
hmm. Yeah. Well, sometimes just that energy and desire and helps you overcome. And so glad that you guys were able to start it and have the confidence to open the doors and to get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
How had how about the COVID piece? How did it impact you guys, and kind of what did you do to get through it?
I mean, it was a huge impact on us. At the end of the day, we were closed for almost a year. Um, and, for me, I've always had the mentality of we got to just figure it out, keep moving. This is the situation. What are we going to do? Come up with a game plan. Um, so it was a big challenge in the beginning because there was so much uncertainty. But then moving forward, it was just adapt the plan to whatever the new restrictions were, whatever the new situation was. Um, and all in all, I think looking back, I think we did an excellent job navigating through that. It was,
Yeah.
it was chaos for a while, but we did what we had to do. And I think now that we've been reopened since right after Valentine's Day, um, we're very fortunate that things are just full force and we're back at it.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, it was there was about three or so weeks, where we were just sitting on the. I mean, there was no direction. There was nothing. There was no information. I mean, we could not make any choices, and I think that was the most daunting part of the entire situation. Once we got the ability again to begin to make choices, to begin to game plan, yeah, then we can adapt and we can evolve that plan. But to just sit there and not be able to do anything, that was really the tricky part. And for me, um, that was a rough place to be. I started exercising. I started running for the first time and trying to watch what I put in my body. And I mean, that was really all I could do. I'd never done those things in the past, but it was something to grab and something to do. So that's kind of how I got through that time. I mean, I'm still doing those things because I turned out I enjoy them, but I needed to go somewhere and able to do something for myself,
Yeah, no, I understand. And your menu was not necessarily one that was made for takeout. So
Yeah.
trying to make adjustments and find a way to do business, I'm sure was really challenging. Did you end up doing some takeout along the way, or?
We did meal kits, weekly meal kits that we provided, and we did a demonstration video along with directions and things like that, how to finish the meal kit at home. And it ended up being it was fun. Looking back at it, was fun.
Yeah.
We have a young son who's now 5, so he got to participate in the videos, and
He was a taste tester.
yeah, he was the taste tester. So it was fun. It was different. I don't necessarily think that we would want to move in that direction anytime soon, but it served its purpose, and we got to keep our feet moving during that time.
Yeah. And for those, and you're absolutely right. I mean, it's not like we could do takeout food, right? That was never our concept. So when we decided on the Sunday meal kits, the weekly meal kits, we actually really thought about, well, what is it that we offer, right? Yeah, we offer hopefully good food and good service, but more than that, what we offer is an opportunity for our guests to sort of be in our world for an hour and a half, or 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do we translate that into somebody's home, into somebody's kitchen? And so that's where we came up with that idea of, it's going to be a few things that I pretty much do all of the prep work. You're really just rewarming or, doing some simple stages of the process. And, you get to kind of follow along with these fun little videos or whatever, that we make. So.
Yeah, that does sound fun. And in hindsight, probably stressful while you were doing it, but sounds like a really creative way to try and like you said, keep your feet moving, and have something to do each day besides go running, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, how about some of the other challenges that are facing the industry today as a whole? I'm curious as to kind of the impact for you guys, specifically, I guess, staffing and food prices and food shortages. Are you guys being impacted by those like most everyone else?
As far as staffing goes, it's just us two. We don't have any other staff, so we've been fortunate in that sense that hasn't been a worry or concern, because we haven't we don't have any
employees,
staff.
yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you want to speak on this.
Yeah, well, I mean, so there's no doubt about it. There's a shortage on everything, right? There's a shortage on used vehicles. I mean, there's just a shortage on everything in the world. So yeah, sparkling water. Yeah. So it's tough to get stuff. That being said, the producers that we work with, because we're such a small operation, it hasn't really been that bad. We've seen prices increase a little, per pound or by weight or whatever, but it hasn't really been anything for us that we couldn't just really absorb. So we've been pretty fortunate. I think that the beauty of our model and the protective sort of barrier of our model is that the fixed costs that are typically associated with running a restaurant, the labor and the food and beverage costs and those sorts of things. Well, our labor is zero, and so there's 33% of the cost right there. And then the menu is a fixed price menu, so it's constantly rotating all the time based on what's available, right? So when one thing goes away, it's not like I need to have these ingredients on my menu all the time. I have complete control to literally do whatever I want. So now that doesn't mean that I can go control pricing. Like when I buy things,
Right.
It is what it is. Somebody else lets me know what that price is, and we've adopted the ethos that we're only going to buy the highest quality thing. So yeah, it is expensive. It's just that I'm not always stuck to X, Y, and Z. I can rotate every day if I want to. So we have a lot of flexibility there.
Yeah, that's actually really, really cool and a beautiful concept today because, as you said, you're not stuck with needing 100 pounds of a certain item, week in and week out, and like you said, you can just shift your menu. So
Yeah.
you've got a very chef centric concept, which makes me think, hey, this is something you can grow with. Are you guys thinking about expanding or doing anything to blow it up in the next few years?
I mean, yeah, actually, it's funny that we never actually talked about it, but one of the things that we realized real quickly, especially during COVID when we were locked down, is when you don't own your space, right? When you're leasing it from somebody else, um, it's kind of a scary place to be, right? Again, that's a lack of control, and you want to be able to control every single aspect of your business. So we were thinking about moving to a place that we do own, and if that were the case, then there's not really a point to try to recreate, square foot for square foot, right? I mean, we could just stay where we are and keep everything the same. Why put the expense out to move it and then keep it exactly the same? So we were thinking about, expanding. I'm hesitant to use that term. It's more about just taking the exact same thing that we've really dialed in all these years and just multiplying everything by 2. So it is expanding, but we're not going to go to a 150 seat restaurant. I mean, we'll go from 18 to 40, right? So, but what that does is, for the first time, it would allow us to sort of detach a bit and take on new roles. For me, I kind of liken it to the concept of, well, you can't be the star player forever. At some point, you're going to have to make the transition to more of a coaching role if you still want to be in the game, or a management role, that kind of thing. So, for me to always do all of the production every single day, well, that's fine when you're 25, 30, whatever, 35 years old. But at some point, it's actually going to be limiting, and you're actually not going to be able to scale. And you'll actually get trapped inside your business. So for me, the next step, that next plateau, is transitioning to that role of really overseeing everything, making sure everything's running up to the standards, and setting new parameters and setting new goals. To do that, of course, I'm going to have to need help. So I think that's where growing a little bit is actually going to lead to long-term gains in the future. So.
How about you, Allie? How do you feel about changing roles or moving toward more of that coaching management side?
Well, before COVID, I would say change was not something I was extremely comfortable with. Now, post-COVID, or where we are now, I'm definitely more open to it. I think at the end of the day, really enjoy what I do. And with that being said, change is good. I think that's what I've learned this past year, is that change is good, because it allows you to grow and move forward. And so I'm at this point, I'm open to change, and it's nervous, and it can be, you can be nervous about it, but at the end of the day, there's only good things can come from it if you go into it with the right mindset.
Yeah, well said. And this is one of those issues that any business that's looking to grow faces, and that is figuring out when the time is right, and what constitutes right in terms of timing. But when is the timing right to make that move and make that decision? Have you figured out what that looks like for you guys? I mean, is it a certain amount of revenue? Is it?
I figured it out when I was 25, Jeff. But
no, I think that we're in the beginning stages of that. We're still in the brainstorming stages. I mean, we have an outline of what we want, but it's just it's a bare outline. So we're at this point, we're trying to, add more details to exactly what we want it to look like. We're obviously realistic that nothing goes according to plan, But we want to have a vision of what the next step is dialed in before we go out and do that.
We have the unique opportunity to not have to do anything, but we get to do it. So
Right.
there's no time pressure, there's no financial pressure, there's no anything. We're up and rolling again at our space that we've been in for better part of a decade, and things are great. So to do this, we can really make sure now that we're doing it exactly how we want, piece by piece. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think in talking with a lot of different owners in the past, a lot of them, well, there's really two ways that the people think about that expansion piece, and one of them, one set of owners tends to be driven by opportunity, especially related to the location. Sometimes that'll be the impetus that'll push you forward if suddenly the perfect spot opens up, for your concept, for what you've kind of designed and brainstormed and sketched out, and that opportunity arises, and it's a great deal. Then, maybe that pushes you forward, and others are, more pragmatic about it. So I guess the beauty of where you are is that if that opportunity does arise, you can press the gas pedal if you need to.
that's absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very exciting. Well, I look forward to it, and I'm sure all your customers do as well. To hopefully one day see in another location, whether it's a second or just a bigger location. You could always keep the first one going and just have two.
No way. We're doing one thing or the other. I can't. I'm not going to stretch myself between two spots. But
Yeah. Now, are you guys from Vallejo, that area?
well, I'm actually from the next town over, a little town called Benicia here in the Bay Area, and Allie's from the Midwest. So
I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin originally.
Gotcha. I should have gotten that from the accent, but but yours is not quite there yet. And unlike mine, which everybody knows, I'm from the South somewhere.
hers comes back when she's with her mom and her sisters. It comes back.
That makes that makes total sense. So I hadn't had to worry about staffing. We talked about food prices and shortages and kind of how you are built for adaptability in terms of that, so that you can make changes to your menu as you need to accommodate what's available. And I'm sure your guests enjoy that, the fact that they that there's something different on the menu. I think that's a fantastic concept. Let me ask you about how what you look at to determine success, for the day, the week, the month. Are you guys the numbers people, or is that Allie's role specifically? And, if you are a numbers person, kind of what numbers are you focused on?
So I'm definitely the numbers person.
Yeah.
And I would say that's where I don't necessarily look at, obviously throughout the year and the season, you have slower times and busier times, holidays and things like that. But I would say, yeah, that's definitely where I'm driven in a sense of numbers, and that's my mentality and the way I look at things, versus Michael does not look at that. I don't want to say at all, but very seldomly do you look at that. But what's nice is that we have good communication in a sense of, okay, we're entering a slower time of the year. And I can let him know that, so he's aware of it. So if we need to make certain adjustments, we can make certain adjustments.
Well, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we look at our cash flow mainly on a weekly probably basis, right?
Yes.
Or maybe every couple. So it's not necessarily every single day. We look at income versus account or bills going out, and it's so streamlined that Allie's pretty much got it down to the point where each week pretty much we can make minor adjustments here, So yeah, I think it's probably more on a weekly basis with that, or with the financial aspects of gauging success. But with the mine is different. For a chef, for somebody who's committed to this life, and somebody who's really dedicated their life since they're 15 years old to doing this one thing, it's hard. I mean, success is lots of different ways. Of course, there's the goals that you want to achieve, but getting too focused on that, on outside achievements, things outside of what you can really do or control, I mean, that can drive you crazy. So I look at it as every plate that I do, every dish that I do, am I happy with it? And I think most chefs are the type of people that are constantly finding the negative in things, or they're problem solvers by nature. Mm-hmm. So you're constantly looking for the next problem to solve, right? So it tends to lead to a bit of a negative kind of, or you're looking for mistakes. So when I get to the point where I know that I'm pretty good with this one, I won't let myself think there's no mistakes, but it's a feeling that you get of, this one worked out, and I try to just chase that feeling. So to gauge success from my point of view, it's really about trying to make sure I'm happy with what I'm doing, and how does that look tomorrow,
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense, because you're all about delivering an exceptional meal or plate in this instance, or idea or concept that you come up with for service that evening or that week, and you want to make sure that what you're putting out kind of meets that expectation. And I understand that completely, and it's funny that whether or not, I mean, it's so good to have both of you to balance each other, right? Because you're more about the experience, Michael, and Allie's probably a little more about making sure that there's money in the bank to pay the next set of vendors.
Offer that experience tomorrow, right?
Yeah. So it's a great balance to have, and that way you've each got your own area to focus in, and I think that works out wonderfully. That you guys are able to achieve that. So, and again, we talked about next steps and what your growth path might look like, and we'll all be looking forward to to seeing that come to fruition down the road at some point when the opportunity is right, and you've figured that out. Let me back up and restate that. We have a number of listeners who are kind of on the edge, or are entrepreneurs who have not yet started their journey. Any words of wisdom or advice from either of you or both of you that you might give to new aspiring restaurant owners to kind of help them jump off the cliff, I guess is one word to say.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think we come from different, points of view, Michael and I do. But my thing is just go for it. At the end of the day, and it's so simple, right? But just go for it, because at the end of the day, what's the worst thing that could happen? You fail, and it sounds scary and sounds horrible, but it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth the risk. Even when before we first opened, I remember just saying to Michael, well, just do it. Just do it.
That was literally,
enough of all the talk and the conversations. Just do it. If this is really what you want, just do it. And I think that's my mentality. Maybe a little harsh sometimes, but that's just kind of my mentality and my outlook on things, is to just go for it. You probably have a lot.
Well, you got to be, to some degree, you're absolutely right. You have to have a certain amount of, you need to be the type of person that can just adopt something for what it is and just go with it. Because if you're looking at for what you hope it's going to be, or what you want it to be, or what you wish it would be, it'll never work out. I mean, you have to just say, this is what my situation is, put a box around it and work it. And so I would say the biggest piece of advice I would give is don't kind of do something. If you're going to do it, you need to commit to that thing, because when you do commit, problems are easy, and all you're going to get are problems in the beginning, and they're easy to navigate because you're all in. If you got one foot out the door, or you're not really sure, but you're kind of just going with it, it's going to be trickier and trickier to solve problems. So, and I guess the second part to that would be to take small, scalable kind of stairs, if you will. Don't go into a project you're not ready to, a multi-million-dollar project you're not going to be able to work. We started, I didn't know how to run a business, but it was a small little bank line of credit. So worst case scenario, I lost it, it failed, go get a job. It's not the end of the world, and if you take it in small steps like that, it tends to give you a little more breathing room. So
I think that's great advice. For any of our listeners out there who are looking to get started, I love the small scalable steps piece, and the just do it. Reminds me of Nike. Just do it. See Michael Jordan flying through the air, right?
There you go.
Yeah. Well, it's difficult to get started, but like you said, it's not the end of the world if you fail. And maybe all is not the right word, but the majority of business owners out there have seen failure in some form or another, and have found a way to get through it, around it, or just switch gears and did something different until they ultimately got there. So, we like to encourage our listeners to follow your dreams and just go out there and make it happen. And just like you guys have done over in Valejo, California. Hey, I give you a chance here as we wrap up to maybe share a little marketing message or anything you want to put out there to your local market that to entice or describe or advertise the business. Kind of what might you share to let people know all about who you are and what you're doing, and to get them to come in to see you? I put you on the spot with that one.
Oh, yeah. It's interesting. We've never actually done any of that. All of our marketing all these years has been word of mouth. I mean, we figured you're always much more inclined to believe a family member or a friend that's excited about our place, rather than me trying to lure you in with one thing or the next. So I will say what we do at the restaurant is we try to offer the highest quality product that we can find, and we try to do that in the most relaxed setting that we can make. So you're welcome to come. We're open to everybody, and you're welcome to be yourself. Lots of folks like to celebrate. Lots of folks like to just come by and hang out and shoot the breeze with us. So regardless of why you're coming to the restaurant, we're gonna try to make you feel right at home, and we're gonna try to offer you the best that we possibly can on that day. So looking forward to having it. Anyone who'd like to come.
Well, I think that was more than well done, sir. Very, very well said. And for all of our listeners that are in the Valejo, California area, if you haven't had an opportunity to go and visit Michael Waring, please do so. You can check out their website, which again we'll post at the bottom of the video, and kind of see what you're getting yourself into. But at high quality food, relaxed setting, it all sounds and looks wonderful. And Allie's going to make sure that you have a great experience, in addition to Michael, who's going to cook it up for you. So, I want to thank you guys for being on the show today, and appreciate you taking time to share your experience and your wisdom and your challenges and thoughts and advice with all of our audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having us.
We appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
Well, we appreciate you, and for all our listeners, the Local Leaders Podcast, this is another episode getting wrapped up. We hope you'll join us. We're releasing episodes each Monday and Wednesday. So please join us. You can find us on all the podcast channels as well as YouTube. And we look forward to our next episode. Thank you.